Hello everyone. According to international law, a country must fully meet all criteria to be recognized as having complete sovereignty. A country must possess the following elements: a stable population, a clearly defined territory, a sovereign government, and the capacity to establish diplomatic relations with the international community. And to distinguish themselves from other nations, each country must also have its own national flag, national emblem, and national anthem. Capital, passport, language, currency unit, country code, national telephone numbering code, and national internet domain name. These attributes are used to define the characteristic features of a nation, to make the brand familiar and easily recognizable worldwide, and widely applied in practical life. In reality, many countries around the world possess geographically separate territories, even though they share the same name. Yet it is not recognized as an independent nation by the international community. Video, Let. Taiwan Independence. Taiwan is an inalienable part of China. The official name of the region is Taiwan Province of the People's Republic of China. This country is located in East Asia, along the Northwest Pacific Ocean. At the same time, Vietnam also shares a maritime border with China through the Taiwan Strait. With an area of 36,193 square kilometers, this territory consists primarily of the main island of Taiwan. Penghu, Kinmen, Matsu, and the surrounding smaller islands are all under their administration. The current population of the Republic of China, Taiwan, is composed of up to 98% people of mainland Chinese descent. The remaining approximately 2% of the population are Taiwanese indigenous peoples, who use Austronesian languages. Therefore, Chinese is the main language used on this island. For the majority of the population, the Hokkien dialect is used as the language for daily communication. While English is also a widely used language, especially in urban areas and in the business sector, Taiwan's culture is deeply influenced by Chinese culture. During important holidays such as Lunar New Year, Lantern Festival, or Qingming Festival, or arts such as paper cutting also share similarities with neighboring countries. Moreover, this island is also a melting pot of diverse cultures. For example, Japan and Western countries, as this place was under Japanese domination for 50 years. What is noteworthy is that despite possessing all the elements of an independent nation, a government, a defined territory, a stable population, and the capacity for self-governance. However, Taiwan's sovereignty is still not widely recognized by the international community. The primary cause stems from political and diplomatic pressures from the People's Republic of China. It has always considered Taiwan an inalienable part of its territory. Currently, only 11 United Nations member states and the Vatican City recognize the sovereignty of this island. However, the majority of countries in the world still consistently maintain political relations with one another. In reality, bilateral relations between the two sides in the areas of trade, economy, and diplomacy with Taiwan. Although not established in the form of official diplomatic relations, this demonstrates that the area still maintains significant flexibility. In an effort to assert its position on the international stage, Transnistria is a land region with a total area of 4,163 square kilometers. It borders Moldova to the west and Ukraine to the east. This is a narrow valley, stretching north to south along the banks of the Dniester River. This region unilaterally declared independence from Moldova during the dissolution of the Soviet Union. In 1992, separatist forces erupted in armed conflict with the pro-Western government. Hundreds of people were killed. Subsequently, Russia deployed 1,500 of its peacekeeping troops here, starting in 1993. And providing free gas to Transnistria to support the separatist government there. Thus, this area became increasingly isolated from Moscow since the conflict in Ukraine erupted. Additionally, Moldova remains concerned that the Kremlin could exploit the Transnistria region to open a new front in the southwest, the area bordering Ukraine's Odessa province. It is home to one of the most crucial seaports on the Black Sea. The war in the neighboring country is having a powerful impact, not only on the economy of Transnistria. Moreover, it forces the leadership of the secessionist region to adopt a more moderate and restrained stance, and does not express a stance in support of Russia. Currently, this is a territory with a complete governmental system, including a government, a national assembly, a military, and a police force. postal system, currency, and personal vehicle registration. Furthermore, the government also adopted a constitution, a national flag, a national anthem, and a national emblem. However, in reality, no country in the world recognizes Charnish's sovereignty. And it never appeared on any world map. Meanwhile, the Republic of Moldova considers the majority of this territory as its sovereign land. Left Bank Dniester Administrative Territorial Unit. After reaching an agreement with Ukraine in 2005, Moldova. In Charnistia, every business aspires to export its goods to the Ukrainian market. All activities must be registered with the Moldovan authorities. On the other hand, the people of Charnistia, despite having their own council, but its value is only recognized within Russia. So most of them had to apply for additional Moldovan passports, along with a Russian or Ukrainian passport. Therefore, more and more young people wish to leave Charnistia. Here, finding a job with a living wage is extremely difficult. The separatist government in this region has also repeatedly expressed its desire to merge with Russian territory. However, all efforts did not yield the expected results. The future of Charnistia grows ever more bleak, when they could find no way out. South Ossetia is the official name of the Republic of South Ossetia, a disputed region on the territory of Georgia. Located on the southern slopes of the Caucasus Mountains, it is recognized as part of Georgia's sovereign territory by the majority of the international community. However, following conflicts in the 1990s and in 2008, South Ossetia declared its independence and has since operated as a de facto autonomous state, receiving diplomatic recognition and protection from Russia and a small number of other nations. The Ossetians are believed to have originated from the Alan tribe, an Iranian nomadic people. Their territory once experienced a period of powerful and brilliant development. But in the 13th century, this land was invaded and annexed by the Mongol forces. The survivors retreated into the central mountains of Kavkaz, and gradually migrated southward, entering the territory of the Kingdom of Georgia. Today, the majority of Ossetians live concentrated on the northern and southern slopes of the Caucasus Mountains, including the Republic of North Ossetia-Alania, a federal subject of Russia with an area of 7,987 square kilometers, and the Republic of South Ossetia, with an area of 3,885 square kilometers, is a territory within the sovereign borders of Georgia. Despite such geographical and itinerary divisions, however, both South Ossetia and North Ossetia share a single ethnicity, use the same language, and possess a common culture. This territorial division took place in 1922, immediately following the annexation of Georgia. The Soviet Union established the South Ossetian Autonomous Oblast. The Russian Autonomous Republic of North Ossetia was established in 1924. For decades, the people of South Ossetia have been forced to live under the imposition of Georgian culture and language. By late 1989 and early 1990, nationalists had risen to power in Georgia. The authorities enacted a policy forcing the Ossetian people to leave their land. Georgia for the Georgians. Through its decree, the Georgian government at that time recognized South Ossetia as an autonomous region within Georgia. But shortly thereafter, a referendum in South Ossetia decided to separate from Georgia and established the Republic of South Ossetia in 1992, determined to restore the historical truth of a unified territory. Together with our blood brothers in North Ossetia, a part of Russia's territory. By 2004, South Ossetian leaders had sent a petition proposing the merger of the territory with Russia. To this day, the issue remains unresolved, and the conflict continues to simmer. Currently, this territory is recognized by 5 United Nations member states: Russia, Syria, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Nauru. At the same time, Abkhazia's sovereignty is also recognized by 3 other countries that are not members of the United Nations. The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, also known as Western Sahara. Abkhazia is a territory in the southwestern Caucasus, on the northeastern coast of the Black Sea. Legally, it is recognized by the majority of the international community as part of Georgia's sovereign territory. However, following the conflicts in the 1990s and 2008, Abkhazia has unilaterally declared independence and currently functions as a de facto autonomous state with direct support and recognition from a small number of countries, including Russia. The final political status of Abkhazia remains an ongoing subject of international dispute. Abkhazia is a disputed territory located in western Georgia, covering an area of approximately 8,600 square kilometers. To the north, the Kafka mountain range forms a natural boundary separating this region from the Russian Federation. To the east and southeast, it borders the territory of Georgia, while to the west and southwest, it borders the Black Sea. When the Soviet Union began to disintegrate in the late 1980s, ethnic tensions between the Abkhaz and Georgians escalated. Because of Georgia's declaration of independence, the Abkhaz people opposed this primarily out of concern that an independent Georgia would end their autonomy. Accordingly, they aspired to establish a model state similar to the Soviet Republic. Then, on April 9, 1991, Georgia declared independence, which led to the outbreak of war between the two territories. At that time, the Abkhaz authorities carried out an ethnic purge aimed at expelling and exterminating ethnic Georgians. The massacre continued until February 1995. It is estimated that following this event, the population of Abkhazia plummeted from 525,000 to just 216,000, a figure that is less than half of its original size. When the Soviet Union actually collapsed, Abkhazia abruptly broke away from Georgia to form the Republic of Abkhazia. In 2008, Russia, along with Venezuela, Nicaragua, Nauru, and Syria, recognized the independence of this territory. At the same time, Bogdwang also maintains a military presence in the region and asserts that this action aligns with the aspirations of the local people. Although it has been more than a decade since reconstruction began, Abkhazia still lags behind the world due to the consequences of prolonged armed conflicts and wars. Yet it is undeniable that this land boasts breathtaking natural landscapes and a deeply rich cultural identity. Moreover, for a long time, the local population has been renowned as one of the communities with the highest life expectancies in modern history, with a notably high recorded rate of centenarians. Not only do they have long lifespans, but they also belong to the group of elderly with the sharpest physical and mental health. Despite living up to 100 years old, the people of Abkhazia hardly suffer from chronic diseases, a condition that has become a common trend in modern society. It can be affirmed that it is precisely the communal culture and distinctive way of life that create this difference. Northern Cyprus, officially known as the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, is a state recognized only by Turkey, located in the northern part of the island of Cyprus. This territory declared independence in 1983, 2 decades after Turkey's military intervention in 1974, which led to the division of the island. However, on the international stage, the vast majority of the world community still considers it part of the territory of the Republic of Cyprus under Turkish military occupation. The capital of Northern Cyprus is North Nicosia. Cyprus is a Greek colonial island located south of Turkey. With a total area of 9,251 square kilometers, this territory is geographically closer to Asia. However, from a historical and cultural perspective, this place is profoundly influenced by Europe. Generally, throughout most of its history, Cyprus has been profoundly influenced by Greek culture, with Christianity as its predominant religion. By the 16th century, the Turks had landed on the island and propagated Sunni Islam. By 1878, this place had officially become a British colony, and it regained its independence in 1960. Given that historical context, Cyprus is today divided into 4 distinct geopolitical regions, each administered by separate governing authorities. That is the Republic of Cyprus, the only government recognized by the international community, which controls 60% of the area in the southern part of the island. The Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus administers the northern part of the island, which covers approximately 1/3 of the total area, amounting to 3,355 square kilometers. The United Nations-controlled Blue Line is the buffer zone separating the two territories, occupying approximately 4% of the area. Finally, there are the 2 areas of Agrotyri and Dhekelia, which remain under British administration for military purposes. If the Republic of Cyprus has diplomatic relations with approximately 178 countries, primarily European nations. And while this country is also a member of the European Union, Northern Cyprus is recognized solely by Turkey. Although it has its own political and military systems, in many respects this territory still relies significantly on support from its neighboring country. For example, using the Turkish lira as the official currency instead of the euro. Both export and import activities must pass through the territory of the neighboring country, and moreover, Northern Cyprus does not have its own country code. The economy of this territory relies primarily on two sectors: services and tourism, which contribute 1/3 to its total GDP of $2.75 billion. Next is the light manufacturing industry, contributing 22%, and agriculture accounting for 9%, even though more than half of this region's area could be used for cultivation. Kyrenia is considered the tourism capital of northern Cyprus, boasting a concentration of hotels, entertainment venues, shopping districts, and a vibrant nightlife. In addition, casino tourism also contributes significantly to the economy, primarily due to the influx of tourists from Turkey, where casino activities are banned. Kosovo, officially the Republic of Kosovo, is a territory in southeastern Europe, located on the Balkan Peninsula. It declared independence from Serbia on February 17, 2008. Its capital and largest city is Pristina. Although it has been recognized by many countries around the world, Kosovo's status remains a contentious issue in international relations, and Serbia still considers it to be an autonomous province of its own. Kosovo is a 10,887 square kilometers territory located in Southeast Europe. To the southwest, it borders Albania, to the west, Montenegro, to the north and east, Serbia, and to the southeast, North Macedonia. Currently, this region has a population of approximately 2 million people, of which ethnic Albanians make up 92%. This place is also regarded as the cradle of the Serbian nation, preserving the country's distinctive cultural and historical heritage. In fact, since 1999, after NATO conducted an air campaign against Serbia to end the bloody conflict between the government forces and ethnic Albanian separatists, Kosovo has been placed under the protection of the United Nations and NATO. After the war ended, the United Nations Security Council adopted Resolution 1244 to establish the future status of the territory. The resolution affirms that all United Nations member states are committed to respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the former Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, for which the Republic of Serbia is now the successor state. Since then, the situation in the territory of Kosovo has remained tense due to the ethnic Albanian community's desire to secede and form an independent nation, an aspiration that has not been recognized by the Serbian government or the United Nations Security Council. Due to lax management and a weak economy, this area has become fertile ground for drug trafficking and human trafficking networks. On February 17, 2008, the provincial government of Kosovo unilaterally declared its independence, despite fierce opposition from numerous countries. With this decision, it became the sixth country to secede from the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia since 1991. By the year 2000, following Slovenia, Croatia, Macedonia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Montenegro, Kosovo's declaration of independence redrew the map of Europe, triggering the emergence of numerous new states and, as a result, political and security instability along with conflicts. Thus, this region is not only at an impasse but also faces the risk of being subjected to sanctions imposed by Serbia, as well as threats from Albanian and Serbian paramilitary groups seeking to protect their own ethnic communities. Currently, Kosovo is recognized by 104 United Nations member states, including the United States. Meanwhile, Russia, China, and several European Union member states support Serbia. At the same time, Kosovo is also an official member of two major organizations, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, WB. Western Sahara is a territory in Northwest Africa that is currently a subject of sovereignty disputes. Geographically, the region consists mostly of desert, with a coastline along the Atlantic Ocean and borders with Morocco, Algeria, and Mauritania. Politically, the status of Western Sahara remains unresolved. The United Nations considers it a non-self-governing territory and is working to organize a referendum for its inhabitants to determine their future. Western Sahara is a disputed territory in Northwest Africa, with a total surface area of up to 272,000 square kilometers. Of this, approximately 30% of the territory is controlled by the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The remaining 70% of the territory is currently occupied and administered by the neighboring country, Morocco. This is one of the most sparsely populated areas in Africa, With an estimated population of only about 618,000 people, the average population density is 2.27 people per square kilometer. At the same time, this is also one of the most arid and inhospitable regions on the planet, where the landscape is predominantly covered by vast desert plains. Once a desolate land in the 19th century, Western Sahara later became a Spanish colony. When the Europeans withdrew from the region in 1975, a war broke out between Morocco, Mauritania, and the Polisario Front. The conflict over control of this land has erupted. 4 years later, Mauritania withdrew from the conflict. However, the conflict between Morocco and the Polisario Front continued for many years afterward. The Moroccan government considers Western Sahara to be one of its provinces, which enjoys a certain degree of autonomy. Meanwhile, in 1976, the Polisario Front, a political and military organization, unilaterally declared the territory as the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. Since 1991, the two sides have officially ceased all military activities in the disputed territory. However, the situation remains extremely fragile, despite the deployment of a United Nations peacekeeping mission to Western Sahara. Since then, negotiations between the Moroccan government and the Polisario Front have made virtually no significant progress. Currently, Sahrawi is recognized by 46 United Nations member states, along with South Ossetia. 38 other countries had previously recognized it but later reversed this decision for various reasons. The remaining countries, including Morocco, have never recognized this territory, despite its membership in the African Union. Their official currency is the Sahrawi peseta, but in practice, the currencies of Anzari and Mauritania are the two main currencies circulating and primarily used in this territory. The Moroccan dirham is also accepted, but only in the regions occupied by Morocco. Alongside that, modern Standard Arabic is recognized as the official language by the Constitution of the Sahrawi Republic. While Spanish remains popular due to the colonial period in the late 19th century. And this is also the language used in the workplace. Somaliland. Somaliland is an autonomous territory located in the Horn of Africa, with an area of 176,120 square kilometers, situated along the southern coast of the Gulf of Aden. It borders Djibouti to the northwest, Ethiopia to the west, and Somalia to the east. At the end of the 19th century, the United Kingdom signed agreements with various tribes in the region. And the Somaliland Protectorate was established. In 1960, Britain officially granted independence to this state. However, this nation
you.